So in this video, we're going to be demonstrating a Confucian technique. And Melanie, who's already a very good hypnotic subject, is going to do a bit of role-playing, although not completely, so we can demonstrate this technique more effectively. So in saying that, we'll start from that premise. You've come here today and you've asked to be hypnotized because you've never been hypnotized before. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. And many people wonder what it's like when they haven't had that experience before. And you might have heard that hypnosis is a way of just letting go and relaxing.
I've heard that.
And you also might have heard that it's sort of a form of daydreaming.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
You haven't, eh?
No.
Okay, so when we daydream, we can allow our minds to drift. And do you ever notice that you don't even notice that your mind is drifting?
No, I don't daydream a lot, I don't think.
No?
No, not very much.
Tell me about a time and a place that you really enjoyed being.
I really like watching the sunsets in Taos, New Mexico.
Ah.
That's probably my favorite place.
And the last time you were there, can you remember a particular time that your mind just drifted off as you were watching the sunset?
Yeah. It is timeless. It has a feeling of timelessness.
Timelessness.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can wonder about time when our mind is drifting off. But did you ever notice that when you're wondering about time and what you're experiencing, sometimes when you start to drift off, your eyes just want to close and you just don't want to think anymore? You ever notice that?
Yes.
And when we talk about hypnosis and how nice and relaxing it is, sometimes it can be just like that. Just like that feeling you had when you were watching the sunset and wondering what it would be like if you just allowed your mind to drift even more in a comfortable, safe way. And we can wonder, just wonder what we can really learn as we move into the sunset, all the way. And we might notice our eyelids feeling a little heavy, and that's okay. And we might notice that we feel comfortable and safe. And as we do, we can find, that's right, we can find ourselves breathing deeply, and with every breath, feeling more and more relaxed. That's right. And isn't it nice to know that we can move into this safe and comfortable place anytime we choose? And we do have that power of choice. And we do have that ability to daydream so deeply and so comfortably that it doesn't really matter what we choose, as long as it's appropriate for us at that time and safe. That's right. And it's that sense of safety that allows us to explore and learn and discover. That sense of safety that allows us to wonder what else we can do as we just let go calmly with all the awareness in the world. Just letting go deeply. That's right. All the way. Knowing that we can move in the space and outside of the space anytime we choose to. And we can come back at any time. And we can bring back with us whatever we need. So taking all the time that you need, you can allow yourself to come all the way back. That's right. All the way back. Just take your time. All the way out of trance. That's right.
It was hard
Mm-hmm.
to not go in. It's yeah, it was difficult to fight it off because it's such a relaxing sensation. It's not,
When you're role playing, it's hard to, and when you're role playing and you're already a good hypnotic subject, it makes it a little more difficult to role play that type of
interesting though. It is interesting to see how the conscious mind, that questioning aspect of the conscious mind, that and you try and keep bringing that part forward instead of relaxing and letting that questioning and that constant chatter, getting that out of the way and just focusing on the sunset. That was, it's very hard to have the chatter when you're focusing on the sunset.
So one of the best ways when you're working with somebody of helping them move into trance, to rephrase that, one of the most important things in helping them move into trance is to find out what they enjoy, what they feel comfortable with. Because once you can do that, then you can utilize that information as part of the induction. People will not go into trance with people that have doubts about hypnosis will not go into trance for the most part when using something that's prepared in advance. Because what are the chances are that what you prepared is appropriate for that person in that moment? So the first thing I want to do is establish what you enjoy. And once you know what someone really enjoys, then the rest can be utilized as part of the induction.
Yeah, it's almost like anchoring that feeling of pleasure in the mind ahead of time. And you can't do it unless you actually have that person tell you what gives them pleasure, right? So once they start, like for me, when I anchor to that sunset, it's so easy to focus on that. It's so easy to get into that body space of relaxing. And then when you're relaxed, that chatter isn't constant. Like when you're worrying, you're chattering. But when you're relaxed and you're, on a holiday or doing something you like, it's so much different headspace. And you can hear much clearer someone else talking.
And you mentioned something that's very important, the word anchor. Well, just as you said, what we indirectly did in this session was we established an anchor. Even though I didn't directly establish an anchor, hardly indirectly, but an anchor was established.
Definitely.
Because all we need to do at this point is start talking about a sunset.
That's right.
And it would be very easy for you to go very quickly right back to that.
Yeah, totally.
So maybe in another session, if we started talking about a sunset, well, trance at that point is going to be pretty easy.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
In fact, I would suggest that we pretty much wouldn't really have to do any kind of formal induction. We would just simply start talking. So, that wasn't a pure confusion technique. I wanted to do a little more confusion, but because of the response from the client, I adjusted it accordingly. So what that's called exactly is probably a combination of a few things, and it's really not that important. The important thing is being able to communicate on multiple levels to create a desired effect.
It's very, you have to be very flexible, don't you?
Always. Always, yeah. Always is sort of shifting and, you know, timing and breathing, and it's so many things that you don't really think about. You just allow these things to happen according to how the client responds to you. I think it was Thomas Szasz, the psychiatrist, that explained it like a tennis match. So you're hitting the ball to them according to how they hit the ball to you. Okay? If they hit the ball to you down the line, you might want to hit the ball to them cross court. Okay?
And you have to be prepared for whether they'll have a top spin or a back spin
And
or
all of those technical details. But it's not up here. It's not the intellect that's trying to figure all this out, because if you try to do it that way, you'll never get anywhere. Try hitting a tennis ball and thinking about everything you have to do.
Yeah, you can't. It has to be a total focus on what in the moment.
So the therapist goes into an uptime trance, and the client goes into a downtime trance.
That's right. Fascinating.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.